If we were to imagine January 20th or January 21st, 2017, and either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz wins, Senator Cruz has been very clear he will repeal everything in his power on day one. Senator Donald Trump has been somewhat of that mind. One could imagine where on January 20th or January 21st, the new president directs his agencies to no longer release funds or to terminate state contracts for Medicaid, to no longer release funds for premium support. Lawsuits, I'm sure, would quickly ensue. But what does the state of California, how does the state of California respond if at the federal level, the federal level tries to dial back this bill? That would, I think, in many cases, create quite a budget hole if California wanted to maintain the services that they currently maintain. Many of the exchange wouldn't go away, for instance. It's on state law. But you said you don't spend too much time thinking about that, but if we could sort of go down that rabbit hole for a minute, what would that look like for the state of California in the first quarter of next year, or maybe the second quarter of next year, if Congress and the president, the new president, decided to walk some of that back?
Well, if there's anything I've learned in my two bookends and all of the 30 years in between working in the private sector, the public and the private sector, and I feel this way from both sides of looking at this, is nothing moves that quickly. Yeah. I mean, to expect that there would be radical change in the first 3 weeks or 3 months, or even 3 years, that would result in the kind of disruption that you describe, is very far-fetched to me. And we're seeing even red states, we're up to over 30 states now that are in the Medicaid expansion, and only 18 are Democratic states. And so there are many Republican states that are very dependent on many aspects of this. And I haven't heard any of the whether they're, from the congressional leaders to the candidates, that say they want to repeal and replace with anything specific about it, in how to do it. And so I think that, as often is, it's more a philosophical and a thought-provoking comment without it, any more than I think Bernie Sanders will institute single payer. Right. I mean, I think on both sides, there are a lot of people who aren't really very engaged, and it's easy to talk about, but I just don't think they can move very quickly. And like we always do, we will figure out what to do next. The only thing that can have a very dramatic effect on California in either Medicaid or covered California, because even though their funding is separate, they're very related. In all of our enrollment is integrated together, and in many ways is the cutoff of the federal subsidies to the exchange and the reimbursement to the Medicaid beneficiaries, and that's a continuing appropriation. They would immediately be enjoined, I believe, in the court if they tried to unilaterally stop those payments, but the economic dislocation would be so extraordinary that I just can't imagine that would happen.